Hi, everyone. Welcome to our orientation video for the Social Service Worker and Social Service Worker Indigenous Specializations programs. I'm Lori Gochi. I'm one of the faculty members in your program, and I'm going to be teaching Social Services 2 and Social Work Practice 3 this fall. I'm very excited to meet everybody and to get this journey started with you. So welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Vivian Oystrick and I'm also a faculty member in the Social Service Worker program here at Cambrian. This September, I'm going to be teaching you Social Work Practice 1 and Social Services 1. I'm very excited to be here and I look forward to meeting you in the fall.
Ani bonjour, Gushabana Matkwa Indigenous Cause, Washkishtu Dem, Lori Pelche Bell from Dokis First Nation, and I'm teaching in the Social Services Indigenous Specialization program, and I'm also the coordinator. I'll be teaching you the Anishinaabe Indigenous Social Work Theory program and communication in small groups and social work practice, and I'm looking forward to it. Miigwech.
Hello, my name is Laurel Chareau, and I'm one of the professors in the Social Service Worker program. And I'm privileged to teach with these wonderful women that you've just met. I am teaching communicating in small groups to all first-year students, and I'm also teaching group dynamics. Really looking forward to meeting you, and hopefully you will really enjoy this, this orientation so you're more informed. Welcome to Cambrian Social Service Worker and Social Service Worker Indigenous Specialization programs. We are really happy to be meeting you all today, and we really hope that this video helps you become more informed and to feel comfortable and really good about the decision that you've made to take the program. So welcome to everybody, and I hope everybody's doing well and being safe, and we'll see you in the fall.
Hey, Miigwech, thank you, Laurel. Can you tell us a little bit about that picture we see in the background?
I certainly can. Thank you, Lori. This is a picture of our students that we taught last year. They are, some of them are going into second year. And this is just an illustration of how we teach students to work collaboratively. Often you will be doing group work, and you'll start to engage and develop rapport and communicate with each other. So during the orientation last year, we got folks to partake in activities so they could start to get to know each other and work together and develop rapport and start to interact.
That's wonderful, Miigwech, thank you. And so today what's on the agenda is we're going to spend some time introducing the program. We're going to go through the process of getting you started and answer some questions that you frequently have for us. And we'll spend a little bit of time getting to know each other. Hi, so the picture that you're looking at in front of you was our great big campaign last year on September 30th of Orange T-Shirt Day. So Orange T-Shirt Day is a campaign that was started by Phyllis Webbestand, and it's about when she was 6 years old, she was sent to residential school, and just prior to that, her grandmother had bought her a beautiful bright orange T-shirt, and she was so in love with that T-shirt. And it stayed with her. She remembered it, and then when she went to residential school, she was wondering how where her T-shirt was. Anyways, when she grew up, she decided that she would start a campaign and base it on her orange T-shirt, and the campaign would be to honor the residential school survivors as well as the children that never came home from residential school. So at Cambrian, we celebrate this every year on September 30th. We have a ceremony, and then we have a campaign after that. So these are all of the students and faculty that were a part of that. It's quite beautiful. So this is the SSIS program, and in this program, there's 4 semesters. So if you're looking at semester 1, what you'll notice is that there's the Anishinaabe Indigenous Social Service 1, there's Social Work Practice 1, Communication in Small Groups 1. Now, these courses will be just the SSIS group in them, But the other courses, Introduction to Indigenous Studies, Psychology, and College Communications, you'll be all together, both SSPG and SSIS in those ones. So, and it blends that way throughout all 4 semesters. So in the Anishinaabeg and Indigenous courses that were taken, in those courses, it's coming from the philosophy of Anishinaabeg. We're going to be looking at the 7 grandfather teachings. We're going to work within the medicine wheel model and bring the teachings into the program and into the classes. And you'll be attending ceremonies that are going to be present at Wabno Day support services. So the goal there is to build a community within the classroom. We're building our community in our classroom. We'll get to know each other, work together, and then we're going to take that community and build a healthy community outside of the classroom once you go into the field.
So I'm going to go over the curriculum for the 2 years in the social service worker program. In the first semester, you take some theory classes as well as skills classes. One thing that I'd really like to emphasize is that in order to graduate from the program, you need to pass all of these classes. So all of them are super important because you need them to graduate. And often the classes, the theory applies to the practical, and you'll be doing theory and skills and practice. So for example, English is very important. It can really help you with all of the other courses. You also take some skills courses, communicating in small groups and social work practice. You notice you take that in the first semester, and then it carries on into the second semester. Those are skills classes where you are expected to participate, and you're expected to practice and demonstrate skills. We don't expect that you will know it like that. This is what we're here for, to teach you those skills and give you the opportunity to practice them and develop them. So there's a lot of skills classes as well. You notice that there is a field placement in the first year, and it is in the second semester, and it's a 4-week full-time placement. And in the 4th semester, which is in second year, the placement is full-time. It is 14 weeks in total. So all of these courses are extremely important, and they're fun and they're interesting. And we just hope that you keep an open mind to learning how to learn how to view the world and take on a social service worker lens. And we're here to help you develop that and to learn about that, and to continue on the journey of taking on a social service worker lens. Thank you.
So in this program, you're going to be taking a combination of both theory and lab classes. Your theory classes are going to focus on things like the history of social service work and social work. You're going to learn about the legislation that's going to inform your practice when you're out in the field. You're also going to learn about different theoretical approaches and how those might change when you're working with different populations. And you're also going to learn about different populations and some of the characteristics that make them vulnerable and some of the needs that you're going to have to meet as professionals. Now, the lab classes are structured a little differently. You are going to learn some theory around the concepts that are informing the skills that we're teaching you, but you're actually going to have to demonstrate these skills in the class. So at about 3 or 4 weeks in, we're going to move from theory, and we're going to start demonstrating and practicing those skills that you're going to use out in the field. So different communication skills, and you're going to learn about nonverbal and verbal behavior and how those influence your interactions with the people you're working with. What makes this different from the theories class is that the assessment is pass-fail, and we call these level classes. So along the way, you're going to be expected to meet certain skill sets, and you're going to be told whether you are successful or unsuccessful. Now, if you're unsuccessful, then you meet with your professor and you talk about ways that you can improve to move forward. Your theories classes are graded. So this is something you're likely more familiar with. You're going to leave the class with a grade that's going to demonstrate how you did in the class. Now, also embedded into these classes are expectations around professional conduct. And what this means is that as professionals, we expect you to demonstrate the same level of professionalism and behavior as you would in the field. And what this does is it really helps prepare you for the work that you're going to be doing within the organizations, which are our partner organizations in this program. We cannot sustain this program or help you develop the skills you need without them. So it's a really important part of the program and a part of the expectations that we have. And if you're curious about what professional conduct really means, you'll be able to look at a breakdown of the criteria on Moodle so that you're clear in knowing what we expect from you as students when you come to the classroom. So I hope this clarifies a little bit about what your year might look like and what the expectations might be in each of these classes.
So the next thing we're going to discuss are field placements. Once you finish this program and graduate successfully, you'll have been exposed to 2 placements in the 2 years. Like I said before, the first one is in the second semester, the end of your first year, and it is a 4-week full-time placement, 160 hours. The second year placement is also full-time, and it's the 4th semester, and it is a full-time placement as well. The other thing that we do is we work collaboratively with you, and you get to fill out what we call a placement survey. This is where you have the opportunity to tell us your areas of interest. So your areas of interest may be addiction or mental health or older adults, or working with Indigenous population, children and families, youth. Just to give some examples. So you do have somewhat of a say in where you'd like to go. And then the faculty get together as a team, the 4 of us, and we start to place students, and we try to do what we feel the best match. So we're putting you on a placement where you will be able to learn, develop, and grow, and where there's a good fit, so to speak. Also, just to give you some ideas, we have many community partners in terms of placement. So we have placements at group homes for youth. We have placements in long-term care facilities and activities and retirement homes. We also have placements with the Sudbury Developmental Services Agencies. We also have placements at Sudbury Action Center for Youth, Rizzo Access, with the hospital, particularly in the withdrawal management program, which is addictions, as well as with the ACT team, which is a mental health type of placement. We've also done placements with Canadian Mental Health, the Sudbury Women's Centre, many Indigenous placements, and I'm going to get Lori to speak a little bit about that because she's the expert in that area. So we have many placement opportunities. The other thing that I would like to point out is often a first-year student who experiences a placement may get hired on for the summer and even part-time during their second year. So I've experienced this with students. We had a student that was at the Sudbury Women's Centre, and then she was hired on to work as a summer student. Also, in our second year final placements, where you're almost at the finish line and you will graduate, hopefully. So once you finish your second placement, as I was saying before, many students get jobs from their placement. So for example, this year, we had 2 students that were at a long-term care facility, and once their placement was complete, they were hired on with that particular agency. We've also had students hired on at the Sudbury Action Center for Youth once they had finished their placement. So I just wanted to give you some specific examples around placement.
Well, thanks very much for that, Laurel. That was very helpful. And just to tag on to what you were saying, that in the SSIS program, we do have some Indigenous specific placements agencies to go to. They hire both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, but we usually place our students in the Indigenous program. One of them is Apano that Laurel mentioned, and Nishwakamok Native Friendship Center, and also OHAS. Actually, we had 2 students hired full-time from our program at OHAS, which is the Ontario Aboriginal HIV/AIDS Strategy in Sudbury. And we have Child Welfare Services, Kina, Nogda-Windaman, and there's lots of room for placements there. And actually, they're actually recruiting our students. So it there's lots of opportunity there. It's great. One of the things that's important to know is before you go on to your placement, and we'll let you know when to start the process, is you have to prepare all of your paperwork that you're going to need for placement. It's really important. And we have a service at the college that helps you with that, and they're called Paramed. So you have to go to Paramed, and they arrange your CPICs, your first aids, your certificates, everything that you have prior to starting placement. There are some agencies that won't take you in unless all of this work is done in advance ahead of time. So it's really important not to forget that. Then sometimes we run into a situation where a person's CPIC, they don't have a clean CPIC. Maybe something happened 10 years ago or years ago, and it's still on your record. And if that's the case, that there's anything on your CPIC, you need to contact your coordinators prior to your placement ahead of time. And it's a barrier, but it's a barrier we can work through. There are agencies that are okay with that, and there's some that aren't, but it takes a conversation with your program coordinator to sort all of that out. So make sure you let us know in advance. Miigwech.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to go over some of the supports at Cambrian. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on them because you can access all of these supports and services through our website. We also have a number of them listed on our program page, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So there are a couple of agents or services that I did want to highlight, though. One of them is the Learning Center. So Learning Center is a fantastic place at the college that helps students, especially new students, just orient themselves to the college, to academic learning. They have tutors at the center. So peer tutors for all of the subject areas. They even have job opportunities there for some of our students who want to work as peer tutors, make a little bit of extra money doing that. They are your go-to place for Moodle, for APA formatting, for helping to write assignments, and any other academic support that you can think of. So that place I highly recommend when you come to check it out in person or online. Another service that I wanted to highlight is the Glen Crombie Center for Student Support. So the Glen Crombie Center is a place for those students who know that they'll need an accommodation for the upcoming year. And if you haven't already, if you're one of those students who's thinking that they're going to need an accommodation, then they're recommending that you reach out to them as soon as possible to get that process started so that you have what you need when you start at the college. And again, you can go to their website. They have a really exhaustive website that has all kinds of supports. They have tutoring as well. They have workshops. They have online workshops as well that help you to orient. And this is also a place to go for support around some of the other challenges that you might be facing at the college. So they have lots of wellness activities throughout the year, and it's a great place to connect for those kinds of supports as well. So other services that are listed on here, as I mentioned, I won't go into detail, but I highly recommend you check those out as well.
So now we're going to talk about getting started. So at this point, I'd like to congratulate you. You have been accepted into the Social Service Worker Program, Social Service Indigenous Specialization Program. So you've been accepted. The next step you need to do is to register. Very important. So you register online, and that is through the Enrollment Center. And there are about 3 steps in order to do that. So please register online, and once you do, you will have access to so many things and so many resources that you need, and that will keep you really current around what is going on for you to start your academic journey in September. So I really encourage you to register online, because that means you're starting in September and you're ready to go.
Wonderful. So next, what you want to do is visit My Cambrian, and this is where you're going to find your timetable. You're going to find your book list here. You're going to find out more detailed information about your courses, and this is where you'll find your online course platform, which is your Moodle. Your Moodle is very important. There's a lot of stuff on there, and if you're having any trouble with that, make sure you get help from the Learning Center as soon as possible. It's something you want to get a handle on right away. And also, your grades will be on My Cambrian as well. Okay.
Okay, and the next thing we recommend you do is take a look at our SSPG SSIS program page. So what this is, it is a separate Moodle page where you can access program-related information. So all the first year and second year students have access, or you will have access when you come in the fall to this page once you register. And here you're going to find information about field, you'll find information about orientation, assignment expectations, our code of ethics. So really, really important to familiarize yourself with all of the information on this page. And we will likely be showing you bits and pieces of this in the fall when you come, but it's one thing that you can do to kind of get a sense of the program and the expectations for the fall. So you can see on the side, there's a little snapshot of what that program page looks like at the front. So, and how you'll find that is when you go into Moodle, into any of your other courses, you just look for this specific one through that Moodle platform. But we can talk more about that when you come in the fall. Okay.
The classes begin September 8th, and we really encourage you to attend your first day of classes. Lots of students think that they don't have to attend because they're not going to miss much. But we would argue that the first day of class is probably one of the most important days of the term. This is where you're going to meet your professor. It's going to be where you meet your peers for the first time. The professor is going to answer all kinds of questions around course expectations, what the term is going to look like, how to find your stuff in Moodle, how to navigate challenges or concerns that come up. So please, please, please meet us there on the first day. We're looking forward to meeting you. And if you don't come the first day, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage. So let's start on the right foot. As far as your books go, if you look on your course outlines, you'll see the textbook that is required for your course. One thing you want to make note of is that some of our textbooks are actually available on ebook, which means you can download a version of it directly offline at often a reduced cost so that you don't have to pay the full price. Or if you're not on campus and you can't access it, then this might be a good alternative for you. So please buy your textbook. We do try to cover most of the content in class, but we can't get to everything. So it's really important that you have your book as a resource, that you can read it, you can review things, and you can keep yourself well informed as the term goes on.
Okay, guys, so next what we thought would be helpful is if we put a list together of the questions that students often ask us in orientation. So since we're not together for orientation, we threw some of those questions in this slide. So hopefully they will answer questions that you might have. So we'll start with one of the first ones. Students often ask us, what's the difference between Moodle and My Cambrian? Or they use the terms interchangeably. And it's so confusing. There's so much to know when you first start. My Cambrian is they call it your student dashboard. So this is the place you go, I think we mentioned earlier, to access everything. So your grades will be on there, your courses will be on there, your timetable is on there. Moodle is on My Cambrian, and Moodle, when you click on, there's a little M on your My Cambrian dashboard, and when you click on that for your courses, it takes you to your course shell, and the course shell has all the information in there for your particular courses. So each of your courses will have its own little Moodle shell. So that's the difference between those two things. Question number 2, we often get as well, I can't access Moodle, what do I do? So some people will say they can't see their courses, can't access it. Most of the time, if you can't access Moodle, it means you haven't finished registering. So Laurel mentioned earlier, there are 3 steps to registering. So you have to make sure you follow all those 3 because it's the registration that will allow you access to those courses. There's also another, Moodle has its own website. So moodle.cambriancollege.ca is another way to get to your Moodle courses outside of getting to your courses through your dashboard. So those are the first 2 questions. I'll pass it off to Laurel for the next one.
Thank you. So the third question is, what do I do if I have a criminal record? So what we encourage you to do is, if you do have a criminal record, please get in touch with either myself Laurel Chiron, the coordinator for social service worker program, or Lori Bell, the coordinator of the SSIS program. That doesn't mean that you don't get a placement. What it may mean is that there may be some boundaries or parameters around that placement, so which comes up in April. So the sooner you tell us, the sooner we can respectfully, no judgment type of attitude, work with you to get a placement that will accept, so to speak, you with a criminal record. So it's really important. The first thing is to reach out to us. We have some agencies that are okay with that. Those aren't our decisions. Those are their procedures, protocol, so to speak. So we really encourage you to touch base with one of us, please.
Wonderful. And then another question we get asked quite frequently is, what if I already have my first aid or CPR? So if you already have it, it has to be current. If it's expired, you'll have to take it again. So it's really important, and you'll want to get on top of that early enough and not wait till the last minute, because like I said earlier, all of those documentations have to be put into ParaMed prior to placement.
So another question we get asked often is, do I have to buy the books? And the answer is always yes. For many of the reasons that I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, it's going to support your learning in the classroom, but for many other reasons as well. Your learning doesn't stop when you graduate. When you work in social service work, your learning is continuous and you continue to grow. And these books are actually your tools. I've been in the field for 22 years and I still refer back to the books that I used in school. So we really encourage you to buy them and start to develop your toolbox and buy those books.
Okay, so I'm going to do number 6. And the question is, can I work while I'm in placement? You will learn in Social Work Practice 1 that we do not give advice, yet we help people and ourselves make informed decisions. So while you ponder that, it's really important to keep in mind that placement is a full-time piece. So for the month of April, you will be doing a 40-hour, 35.5-hour commitment to that placement. So it's really important to keep that in mind, that for 4 weeks, you will be doing a full-time placement. As well as in the second year, the last semester, you are committing to doing a full-time, full semester placement. So again, I can't come right out and say whether you should or not. The choice is definitely yours, but to please keep in mind that you need to honor a certain amount of hours and you need to honor it within a time frame. So I wanted to just bring that to your attention respectfully. The next question is number 7. Can I get a paid placement? And the answer is no. It's not a paid placement. You are there as a student in training. You are there to gain experience, exposure, practice, and it's super important. You're also being supervised by a faculty. You are being supervised by an agency placement. The placement is not expecting you to get in there and take over or complement their role. They're there to mentor you and to teach you and to process with you as you go along. So there is no paid placement. The 8th one, can I get transfer credit for some of my courses? I already have a diploma. Really good question. You can potentially. So the first step is if you feel that you do. So for example, we've had students in the past that have taken a semester at Cambrian College, and they've taken the exact same English that you need to take in our first semester. So just to give you an example of a transfer credit, and that can happen. Even if you've gone to another institution, particularly a university or a different college, you can definitely get a transfer credit. For example, if you've taken a 3 credit psychology credit, you may be eligible for a psychology credit. So there are some credits that you can transfer. The important thing is that you have your transcript and a course outline so we can see how that will play out and roll out.
So another question that we often get asked is this program a good fit for me? And this is a tricky one because often this question can't be answered until you actually start the program. A lot of students are worried that what they've experienced in their past might influence how they perform in the program, or whether it's going to lend to whether they're successful with clients. And what I can tell you is that it's not so much what you've been through in the past, but who you are today as a person that's going to determine whether you're a good fit for this program. And what I mean by that is, are you willing to self-reflect on what you've been through and understand how that's going to impact the work that you do with other people? And can you understand how your values and your beliefs influence how you work with people, and whether those values and beliefs align with the values and beliefs of the social service worker practice? And this isn't something you need to figure out on your own. All of your classes are designed to help you answer this question, and we're here to help you answer this question as well.
Okay, so the next one, number 10, do I have to self-disclose in this program? You do not have to self-disclose in this program, but I also want you to start thinking about relativistic thinking within a context. So really taking a look at what is self-disclosure. You will be learning about appropriate self-disclosure, over-disclosing, under-disclosing, and you will learn about that right in semester 1 in communicating in small groups. Sometimes we can self-disclose how we feel, yet we don't need to get into details. Often we encourage people to self-disclose about how something affects them in the here and now. So stay tuned, because you're going to be learning more about that. The other piece is we're moving from self-reflection and taking a look at you, but then also within the context of we're here for the client. So after a while, it's not about us so much as how can we use these skills appropriately to help the person in front of us, the client. So that's why we get into appropriate self-disclosure versus over-disclosing, and thinking about it in really relativistic terms. And these are words you're going to learn about in first semester when you join us.
Okay, question 11. So can I transfer to university after this program? And the answer to that one is, yeah, maybe. We've had many students from our program graduate and go on to do their Bachelor's of Social Work at our local university, Laurentian. But we also have, and they do sometimes give some credit to some of the courses that you've taken. It depends a lot on which university you want to go to. We do have called pathway agreements with some of the universities in Ontario. So the best way to have that conversation is to visit our Pathways office at the college, and they can map out for you which universities have which agreements to help you to make your decision. But many of our students do go on to university after getting their diploma.
Okay, so that's really good. I think we answered a lot of questions. I hope we captured all of the questions that you have, but if we didn't and there's something else that we missed, please just send an email to either one of the coordinators, Laurel or myself, and you'll find our email address on the My Cambrian page. And yeah, so that's it for the questions. Thanks very much, Miguel.
So something else that we talk about in orientation are the characteristics of a good helper. And this is a really important topic, and it actually connects back to, questioning whether you're a good fit for the program. Because these are your tools, these are your skills when you're working in the field of social service work. And we're going to teach you how to develop these skills. So we encourage you to spend some time with this list, look at it, reflect on some of these traits, and think about whether these traits already exist within you, whether it might be one of your strengths, or whether you think you might need to improve in some of these areas. For example, empathy. Empathy is embedded into all of your coursework. We're going to teach you how to be an empathetic listener, how to take an empathetic approach to practice. We're also going to teach you how to be genuine. And we're going to embed what we call the core professional values of social service work into everything you do. So how do you take a non-biased and non-judgmental approach to working with people? How do you develop humility in what you do? And another important characteristic is being self-aware. And this is really key to your learning. So you're going to be asked to do self-reflections and think about yourself and spend a lot of time with yourself, reflecting on what are your strengths and what are your areas of need where you need to grow so that you can be the best social service worker that you can when you're in the field. And we're going to talk about things like social and emotional intelligence and maturity. And you're going to be really encouraged to grow in the program. So we don't expect you to come completely ready. In fact, you shouldn't come into the program thinking you're completely ready to do the work, because there's a lot of growth that happens in this program. And a lot of these traits are going to be developed upon and acquired along the way. Would any of my colleagues like to add?
I'd like to, Viv. So I think along with that, I wanted to point out the lifelong learner. Social service work is a generalist practice. So the expectation is in the field, in your profession, that you will continue to grow and learn as long as you are doing the work. So along those lines, all of these beautiful traits that you see here on this list, we don't expect that by the end of the 2 years you'll have mastered all of these skills. What we expect is that you'll continue to grow and work on these for the duration of your profession. So it's because it's a lot to take in, and it's a lifelong growth kind of mindset around self-development as a person and in your profession. So that's what I'd like to add. Okay, so the last thing that we want to do is hear from you if we can. We can't be together in person right now, so let's give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves and let us know where you're from. So we've created this little tool. It's called a Padlet. You may or may not be familiar with it, but if you go to the App Store and you download Padlet, it's free. You don't have to register. You just have to continue as a guest. You don't have to, sign up or anything like that. Once you continue as a guest, you'll see along the bottom a little scan code. You can use your phone, your camera on your phone to scan that code, and it'll take you to our Padlet. Another way to get there is to go to the website address on the bottom of your screen. So what'll happen is it'll take you to this map, and at the top right-hand corner of this map, you'll see a little plus button. And what you'll do is you'll click on that plus button. It'll ask you to enter a location. So just put in where you're from. Put in your town, your city, wherever you happen to be, and then say hello. You can upload a picture. You can leave a message. You can introduce yourself to your other students and see where everyone is from. And then we'll take a look at those, and you'll see some of us are on there already. You'll get to see where we are. I think we're all standing right on top of Cambrian College, or we will be. So this gives you a chance to kind of introduce yourselves to your fellow classmates and to us. So I hope you do that, so we can see you before you show up in the fall. Okay, guys, that ends our orientation video. Looking forward to seeing you in the fall. Goodbye. Talk soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for spending time with us today. I hope you found it informative. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you very soon.
Baba P, see you later. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the fall.
Goodbye, and stay safe and stay well, and so looking forward to seeing you in the fall. Take care.